So today has been a phenomenal day to really hear and discover how I've been playing the ego game, and how we all are playing the ego game. And to know thyself is the process in which I came to find this out. I was started this journey, as you guys all know, looking to be in a twin flame reflection. And then I discovered the sense of denial, that I was denying myself, right? So we seek outside of ourselves when we are denying parts of ourselves. So then I discovered I had within me both masculine and feminine. And that is still integrating. It's still finding its place and its reflection. And then I started seeing how each part of that reflection inside myself was playing in an outward output through family lineage, through who Susan is that you see before you, this beautiful holographic creature. And then also holographic human. And then also, wow, that makes me want to start this over again. So there must be something to examine with that. If I am a creature, what creature must I be? I don't know. Let's take a look inside. That'll be fun. But my ego came up to want to justify it and then erase that. So that would be how I am playing the awareness game with myself, is to identify everything that exists in the reflection as an opportunity to examine more of the ego, more of the self, on a deeper level that is combined with love. So now I'm seeing all the stories in, my secondary world as clear understandings of how the ego plays itself out, how it literally creates people, places, and things to project outside of itself a story that it wants to continue running. And then there's the part that is aware that it wants to evolve. And that is the part in which you're speaking with now. And I'm being shown that the relationships that I have created outside myself are forms of myself that want to be seen and heard of the story. So there's lots of different variations of that there can be good, bad, and otherwise, right? The things that we call light, the things that we say are of the light, are the parts of the evolved part of the ego that wants to move towards that and experience a different reality system. There are parts of the collective ego and parts of the Susan ego and parts of the family lineage ego that are sure that if things change, it will be obliterated and have no purpose. There's so many parts. I think the first part that really helped me start to identify thyself would be when I realized that the denial of identifying the ego was the closest I could see, is when I looked at my relationship to spirit and saw how I was denying that light, right, outside of myself. And what spirit is a construct of the ego, right? So the construct of the ego denies itself and then calls it spirit. And then you can look out even further. I was listening to something today, which I'll put below, which I thought was wonderful. The work is wonderful. It's so clear, it's so crisp, it's so clean. And it talks about how we have churches and we're still talking about Jesus, and we're still talking about God from, millennials of information, and yet we still say it's the same story. So something is going on, because do you hear my voice going out? So we look at the church, and the church continues a story of what never evolved. It never evolved. So are we not evolving? Whoa, look at this. I love it. I love going to the places, even if my voice tries to shut down. I love going to the places that ego doesn't want to be seen. Right? So you may look at me, and then you may at that point, like they always say, never talk about religion, right? Because it really brings up the ego. But that was the first place that I could see my ego denying God, calling it my reality system. And that's when I learned how to play in my free will and say that I can take any false belief and take it to the light. Ooh, my masculine side's clicking in. Ooh, he came in, and then he saw that I saw him. I like that though. Come forward. Like, I'm not saying come forward, like come forward, son. I'm just saying that all parts of me are welcome. And I'm learning to integrate that welcome feeling to the masculine part of myself, because we've been at odds for so long. And you can say, well, we've been at odds for so long inside myself, but then I could only tell you that the confirmation of that would be in the collective reality system outside myself that we call the world. So I was talking about how I was calling God the reflection of what I had allowed and not allowed in my world. And I only allowed a certain amount, a certain amount in, because there was a part of my ego that was afraid that if I identified it, I would deny it. So I kept identifying it outside myself to prove the point to myself that I would deny it. And every time the ego would show up, I would look at the ego, point to it, and I would judge it. And every time I judged the ego outside myself, the ego inside myself said, fuck, I'm not going to show her it's me, because she is wanting to destroy me and hate me, and there's no room for love. And that is the game I've been playing for such a long time. In fact, it went as far as I found this breastplate on my body around my heart area and stuff like that. And I remember a story way back, right? So I'm remembering past lives as current moments in time now. I'm seeing future self in current states of myself right now. I'm seeing the futures and the pasts all combining, right? Because we're all multidimensional, and this is quantum conversation. And I'm seeing when I geared up, when men would be in charge, which basically is the masculine side of ourselves, right? So women entered the workforce as masculine energies. They had feminine bodies, but they were masculine energies. And I had masculine energies within myself running to take care of myself and make sure that I have a roof over my head and all these things. And we put these ideologies inside. And I remember my feminine side saying, holy crap, and then putting on the armor. So why would not? And then I would go outside seeking this masculine energy on my life because I'm a girl, right? Ooh, something got released around my eye area on this side. Let's get a little closer. That felt right. And it's like a twinge in my nerves or something. So I feel like Jen right now, Jen explaining, I don't know, I just felt like myself as a reflection of Jen Gem. Love you, girl. So, I felt like her explaining the Mandela effect, but I'm just explaining the Susan effect. So then there's going to be a party happening outside my place right now. So that's the DJ checking in. Tap, tap, is this microphone on, right? So I'm going to close this by just saying that then I was outside self-seeking a masculine and looking at each and every one and saying, you're not it, you're not it, you're not it. But they can't be it because the it lives within myself. And I hear outside myself a lot of people on the divine journey, and they're at odds with that person. The person can't see them, they can't understand them, they can't feel them, but they're feeling this connection with this person outside themselves, really not understanding that the connection is truly within the self. And this is a very wild concept to get, because even though I'm sharing this information with you, there are layers to it within self to integrate in, based on what you think you know and based on what you truly know. And that goes back to knowing thyself. And knowing thyself feels scary, no doubt. When I first started going in to know thyself, I had a lot of fears of not feeling enough. And I felt like that feeling of not feeling enough would break me. And I remember crying to the Divine Mother and to Mother Mary and Kuan Yin, and they held me in their arms and they said, everything's going to be okay. So you have an inside world that will nurture you and give you wholeness if you allow them to, that you were created from love and you are loved. So I utilize that knowledge within myself to examine thyself through compassion and love. But I wasn't showing my outside world that same awareness because I was ready for battle. I'm an Aries, so you know all my, if you know anything about an Aries, when we go to battle, we go to win. And we're smart, and we're stubborn, and we are full of ourselves, and the list can go on. And then someone writes an astrology about who an Aries is, right? But we're also childlike and innocent, and it's through the innocence and childlikeness that I was able to go inside myself and take this ride. So that is me in a sum total of a nutshell. Now, why am I taking the time to share this with you? Because it's all culminating right now. All parts of me are coming together in a beautiful song, a story, a journey that has been on for a long time. And as I step into this new way of being amazing, I thought it would be fun to just share with you kind of like a storyline up until this point, from sheer transparency and sheer ability to say that I love the reflection in which I see. I love the reflection in which I see. I love you, the reflection in which I see. no separation. Thank you for being my mirror, far and wide. So many reflections that have taught me this lesson through who they were willing to morph into for my ability to see myself more clearly. Very grateful, and very honored to share all of this with all of you, which are just reflections of myself. And we're not perfect, and we don't ever have to be. And the ego can run, and there's still love to be found inside self. And the masculine and the feminine cannot feel safe inside, but they're growing and learning and loving through each day and each second, that they can trust one another again, that they can love one another again from a place of holding space and love for each other. And my masculine likes that a lot. He appreciates the patience. He appreciates being seen. He appreciates so much. He's transforming again. Yeah. There you go. And my feminine is super excited that we're reunited once again. And she's also like, it feels scary. And that is our journey up until today. And tomorrow I'll share another part of the journey and another story of how to know thyself. But I'll end this with saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love all parts of you. I love all parts of you. I love all parts of you.